There is no need to strive, struggle, or hustle for what is already yours. Your fortune, your breakthrough, your success. It is not something to get. It is something to accept. Right now, in this moment. You don't need to search the world. You need only search your own inner sea. Everything you desire already exists in the invisible. There is a version of you who already won, already received, already celebrated. The money is in the account, the door is already open, the letter has already arrived, the celebration is already in motion, and your only job is to hit play. When you close your eyes and see yourself at the finish line, you are not fantasizing, you are remembering. You are stepping into the end that has always been yours. The inner scene you replay again and again. That's the script, that's the tape. Just hit play. You don't manifest by force, you manifest by surrender. You surrender to the reality that is already written for you in the unseen realm. The moment you assume you have it, the universe begins to echo back, yes, yes, it is yours. Do not ask how. The how is not your burden. The seed doesn't need to know how the tree will form. The spark doesn't ask how the fire will grow. It simply burns. You simply believe. Just like a recorded song doesn't begin when you press play. It was already created. Your jackpot was already prepared. Pressing play simply reveals what's been waiting. So go within. Close your eyes. Feel the moment you already won. Walk into the house that is already yours. Smile like the person who already received the news. The jackpot doesn't come to the one who waits. It comes to the one who lives as if it's done. You are not on the outside looking in. You are the center of this creative force. You speak and life obeys. You feel and the world bends. So stop doubting, stop delaying, just hit play. The jackpot is already yours. Imagination is not a mere tool for idle daydreaming. It is the secret chamber through which all things come into form. What you can imagine clearly, what you can see with the eyes of the spirit and feel as real within your body, this you already possess in the invisible. You may not yet touch it with your hands or see it with your eyes, but it exists nonetheless. Your senses, grounded in the world of appearances, may scream that it is not so. They may echo back lack, limitation, or delay. But the spirit within you knows better. It does not wait for the five senses to approve. It affirms that the unseen is more real than what is seen, and imagination is the channel by which it is made manifest. To imagine a thing is to clothe it in substance. It is to mold the formless into form. Every great creation, every fortune, relationship, healing, and breakthrough was first imagined. It existed first in the invisible mind of someone bold enough to believe that what they imagined could become real. They dared to step into a scene not yet visible and feel the reality of it so deeply, so vividly, that the universe had no choice but to conform. The outer world is slow and mechanical. The inner world is immediate and alive. Imagination operates on the speed of thought. You can, in an instant, be rich, healed, loved, and free, inwardly. And when you persist in that assumption, the world you see must eventually catch up to what you have accepted within, because life always mirrors what you accept as true in the depths of your being. The tragedy is that most people use their imagination against themselves. They replay scenes of fear, lack, rejection, or failure and wonder why their lives reflect the same. But the truth is unchanging. What you accept and feel as true within becomes fact without. And so the invitation is simple but powerful. Imagine better. Imagine higher. Imagine yourself as already possessing all that your heart longs for. Sit quietly. See the scene that implies your desire is already fulfilled. Don't look at it. Step into it. Feel what you would feel. Hear the sounds, sense the atmosphere, breathe the air of completion. Let your inner world become so vivid that you forget, for a moment, that it's not real. Because in that moment, it becomes more real than anything else. And that's the moment when your reality begins to shift. The senses may protest, the facts may disagree, but if you hold firm to the image and return to it in faith, you will discover the great mystery, that the unseen shapes the seen and the imagined eventually becomes your experience. So dare to imagine boldly, because in doing so you are not wishing, you are claiming. You are not hoping, you are receiving. You are not chasing, you are possessing. Imagination is the gateway, and through it, everything you desire is already yours. The greatest secret of all manifestation lies in this simple truth. The end is the beginning. Everything you could ever desire, every goal, dream, or vision you hold in your heart, it is already finished in the unseen realm. Creation is complete. You are not trying to make something happen. You are awakening to what already exists. The path, the answer, the connection, the opportunity, it has already been written. Your only task is to enter the unseen in consciousness and dwell there as though it were your present reality. Most people make the mistake of beginning at the beginning. They look at their current circumstances and try to work their way toward the goal, step by logical step. But this is the slow, uncertain way. It is the way of the outer world. The inner world follows a higher law. If you can see the end clearly in your mind and feel it as real, you collapse time. You bring the result to you, not through effort, but through alignment, and to the end. Don't ask how it will happen. That's not your role. The how belongs to the unseen intelligence that governs all things. Your role is to claim the end result and walk in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. This is not fantasy, it is faith. It is the bold declaration that it is done before any evidence appears. The moment you assume the end, the means begin to move. People, events, conversations, and resources start to align in response to your inner claim. You don't plant a seed and dig it up every hour to check on it. You plant it and live in the knowing that it is growing beneath the surface. The same law applies here. Once you have imagined the end and accepted it in feeling, let it be. Persist in that state. Return to it often. Speak from it, think from it, respond to life as if it were already yours. That is the secret. This is not a mental trick. It is a spiritual principle. The world will always mirror the state you occupy within. If you live from the end, the world has no choice but to conform. Life organizes itself around the image you hold as true. You are not forcing outcomes. You are living in the frequency of fulfillment. And here is the beauty. The end seen already exists. It is a reality in the infinite field of possibilities. When you imagine it, you are not creating something new. You are stepping into something already complete. Your imagination is the bridge. Your feeling is the key. Your assumption is the gate. Stop beginning at the beginning. Start at the end. Walk through the door in your mind and you will find that all the doors in the outer world begin to open. The end is not something you hope for. It's something you enter. The moment you do, everything else begins to unfold with quiet certainty. The world teaches you to fight, to strive, to push your way through life as if success is earned only by sweat and struggle. But there is a higher law, one that moves in silence and power. That law says this: inner acceptance trumps outer struggle. It is not your effort that creates reality, but your agreement with the unseen truth of who you already are and what is already yours. When you accept something inwardly with full conviction, life bends itself to reflect that agreement with exact and flawless precision. You do not need to force the world to cooperate with your desires. The moment you accept the desire as fulfilled within, Without doubt or contradiction, the outer world must begin to shift. It is not a matter of effort, it is a matter of inner certainty. You become like a magnet to the scene you have claimed. But it is not achieved by striving. Striving implies separation. Acceptance implies union. And union is power. Many people live in resistance. They desire one thing but emotionally dwell in the opposite. They want love but feel abandoned. They want wealth but identify with lack. They want peace but entertain anxiety. This is why struggle continues. The outer world must mirror the inner world. Until there is harmony within, there cannot be harmony without. But when you quiet your mind, settle into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and accept your desire not as something you're chasing, but something already yours, then something remarkable happens. You find yourself acting with ease, guided by intuition. The right people show up, the doors open without knocking, the answers come without searching. Life begins to move on your behalf because you are no longer resisting it with inner contradiction. It is not the loud declarations that manifest. It is the quiet assumptions. It is the still confidence that says, it is done, even when appearances say otherwise. This acceptance is not passive, it is creative. It reshapes reality from the inside out. You no longer need to wrestle with life because you've already won within. This is not a denial of action. You will still act, but your actions will be inspired, not forced. They will flow from a state of knowing, not fear. The difference is profound. One is struggle, the other is alignment. When you are aligned inwardly with your desire, your movements carry the weight of divine ardor. What once required effort now unfolds effortlessly. So pause, ask yourself, have I truly accepted what I want as mine? Or am I still wrestling with doubt, fear, and contradiction? The answer lies in how you feel. If you feel peace, if you feel certainty, then the seed is planted. The process has begun, and nothing can stop it. Inner acceptance is the secret, the unseen cause of every seen effect. Accept now, and the world will follow. What you hold within, you hold in your hand. By law, by design, by truth. Your attention is not passive, it is power. It is the spark that brings dormant realities into motion. Whatever you give your sustained focus to, whether by thought, emotion, or imagination, begins to take form. Your life, moment by moment, is a mirror of what you have consistently honored with your attention. It is not the fleeting thought that shapes your world, but the dominant focus you carry with feeling and persistence. Like pressing play on a recording, your attention activates what was already prepared and waiting. Every possibility already exists. Every version of your life, rich, poor, loved, alone, fulfilled, empty, already resides in the infinite field of potential. You are not trying to create something from nothing, you are selecting from what already is. Attention is the selector. It is the invisible finger that touches a thread in the web of reality, causing it to vibrate and bring forth a new song. You may not see results instantly, but once your attention is locked onto something with conviction, the process begins. Invisible currents move. People begin to feel drawn to you. Circumstances shift. Time and space realign. And all of it starts with where you place your gaze. Not just with your eyes, but with your inner vision. Most people misuse this power. They focus on what they fear, what they resent, what they lack, and then wonder why life continues to echo the same experiences. They unknowingly press play on the wrong recording over and over. But you are not here to replay pain. You are here to remember truth, to awaken abundance, to live the scene that brings you peace. Where your attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, manifestation grows. This is why it is said that you must keep your eyes single, meaning focused, unwavering, directed on the good, the pure, the true. When your attention is divided, so are your results. But when your inner eye sees only what is wanted and feels only what is desired, the outer world begins to sing that same melody. This is not a game of force. You don't need to strain your mind or fake your feelings. You need only choose. Choose the scene that aligns with your desire. Choose the outcome that sets you free. Then return to it again and again. Not with desperation, but with delight. Not with fear, but with certainty. You are not begging for something to come. You are calling it forth by giving it life through attention. Even now, what you consistently notice is growing. Are you planting weeds or flowers? Are you rehearsing pain or rehearsing victory? The choice is always yours, and the law never fails. What you attend to with faith and feeling must materialize. You have pressed play on many things in your life, some unconsciously, some in fear. But now you can choose differently. Focus on what is good, what is done, what is beautiful, what is yours, and watch the invisible become visible. Because your attention has the final say. You are not on a journey to win. You are awakening to the truth that you have already won. The prize you seek, the love, the wealth, the healing, the recognition, it is not a reward waiting at the end of a long, exhausting road. It is a present reality, wrapped in the invisible fabric of faith. The moment you truly feel it, the moment you see it with inner clarity and dwell in its vibration, it begins to unfold in your outer world. Not because you earned it through struggle, but because you accepted it by consciousness. The world has taught you to chase, to work endlessly for outcomes, to believe that success is always just out of reach. But in truth, the game is already finished. The outcome is already written. You are not here to strive for victory. You are here to remember it. The jackpot isn't in the future. It is here, now, not in material form just yet, but in substance, in truth, in essence. And when you align your mind and heart with that knowing, the form must follow. Faith is not blind optimism, it is spiritual vision. It sees the invisible as real, the promised as already delivered. When you say, I am already wealthy, or I am already loved, you are not pretending, you are declaring what exists in a higher dimension, a dimension more powerful than the one your physical senses report. The outer world is always delayed. It echoes the inner assumption with time. But the inner world, your imagination, your feeling, your awareness, that is instant. That is where the jackpot lives. You must feel now what the world says you can only feel later. Smile now, rest now, rejoice now. Speak now as the one who already holds the prize. Let your thoughts reflect the person who has already crossed the finish line. Let your posture, your energy, your silence carry the certainty of one who knows it's done. Because it is done. Do not wait for outer confirmation. The world will wait for you. It takes its cue from your belief, not the other way around. If you persist in the inner knowing that the jackpot is yours, the outer world must conform. It is law. It is precision. It is unfailing. You are not asking to win. You are aligning with the version of you who already has. You are not hoping. You are embodying. You are not reaching. You are receiving. The treasure is not buried in time. It is revealed in awareness. So stop chasing. Stop waiting. You are not a beggar at the gate of life. You are the heir, stepping into your inheritance. Everything is already prepared for you. But only faith can see it, and only feeling can unlock it. You are not trying to win, you already have. Now live from that truth. Walk like it, speak like it, be it, and the world will unfold in perfect response. Faith is not a desperate hope tossed into the darkness. It is not wishful thinking. It is not ignoring reality. It is seeing deeper into it. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is the invisible foundation upon which all things are built. When you have true faith, you are not guessing, you are knowing. You are perceiving a reality beyond the five senses and standing upon it as though it were solid ground. Faith is visionary. It sees the result when the facts say otherwise. It hears yes when the world screams no. It feels completion where others feel lack. Faith operates not on proof but on presence. It anchors you in the unseen with such confidence that the seen must eventually bow in response. It is not about forcing outcomes. It is about aligning yourself with the truth that already exists in spirit. But how do you know your faith is real? How do you know you've truly believed? The answer is feeling. Feeling is the evidence. It is the emotional signature of your inner conviction. When you feel something is real, your mind and body align with it. You speak differently, move differently, and live differently. You're no longer reacting to appearances. You're acting from inner certainty. You don't need to fake feelings. You simply need to surrender to the reality of what is already yours. Sit with the vision. Imagine it in detail. Feel the joy, peace, relief, and excitement that would naturally be there if your desire were already fulfilled. When that feeling becomes dominant, when it starts to linger throughout your day, that's your evidence, that's your inner proof, and that's when miracles begin. Because the world does not respond to your outer actions alone, it responds to your inner vibration. You can speak affirmations all day long, but if you feel doubt, fear, or unworthiness underneath, those feelings carry more weight. But when you feel it real, when your assumption becomes your inner experience, the universe organizes itself around that emotional truth. This is the great key. What you feel to be true becomes true for you, not because you forced it into being, but because you aligned with what was always available. Faith taps into the realm of infinite possibility. Feeling anchors that possibility into form. You must go beyond believing with your mind. You must believe with your entire being. Faith doesn't look for signs. It becomes the sign. It walks before anything appears. It blesses the unseen. It trusts the invisible. It celebrates before the crowd gathers. When you stand in faith and feel it real, you awaken a power that cannot be shaken by facts. Facts change, truth remains. And truth is what faith reveals. So live as if it's already done. Speak from the fulfillment. Move with assurance. Let your emotions testify to the reality you've chosen within. Because faith is your substance and feeling your undeniable evidence. And from that alignment, miracles are not only possible, they are inevitable. All that you seek is already within your reach, not in the future, but in the now. You are not chasing blessings, you are awakening to. There is a rhythm to life that does not follow the clock of man, but the heartbeat of the divine. You may look at your life and wonder, why hasn't it happened yet? Where is the promise? Why do I feel so close yet still without? But let me tell you something. God's timing is never early and never late. It is perfect. You have not been overlooked. You have not been forgotten. What you seek has already been created in the unseen. It waits for you to match its frequency, not by chasing it, but by becoming it. Time, as we know it, is merely the unfolding of what already exists. That which you call the future is simply the now, waiting for your awareness to arrive. And the more you align with the feeling of your desire, not the wishing, not the hoping, but the knowing, the sooner it begins to crystallize before your eyes. Many give up because the outer world doesn't move fast enough. But the soil doesn't shout when the seed begins to grow. There is silence before the miracle. There is stillness before the breakthrough. And in that stillness, if you remain faithful to your vision, you will find peace, not because it's far away, but because it's already done. Duration. Delay is never denial, it is preparation. It is the space between the asking and the receiving, a space where your faith is refined and your foundation is strengthened. Do not rush divine ardor. When you feel it's time to give up, that's when you're closest. That's when your shift is about to arrive. So I ask you today, can you trust even when it seems like nothing is happening? Can you hold your vision even when reality looks the same? Because your assumption is the seed. It will grow. And when it does, it will appear suddenly, not because you earned it through struggle, but because you believed it through surrender. Don't chase, don't beg, don't worry. Instead, assume it is already yours. Walk as if it is, speak as if it is, sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Because in this eternal now, big things are already coming. God's timing is perfect. And it's your belief, not your effort, that makes it so. Wait in joy, for the divine does not delay. The breakthrough has already begun. The events you seek in life, the dream, the breakthrough, the answer to your prayer, are not far off in the distant future. They are not waiting in some hidden corner of time, slowly making their way to you. They already exist. They are finished, complete, alive in the unseen realm of the eternal now. The only thing that seems to stand between you and them is your awareness. Not time, not effort, not struggle, but simply your own realization of what has already been prepared for you. What we call waiting is nothing more than a delay in our perception, not a delay in the creation. The truth is, nothing needs to be created for you to receive what you desire. It already is. The moment you imagined it, the moment you desired it, it was made ready for you. But until your mind and emotions catch up, until you fully accept it as done, it cannot materialize in your world. This is why time is not the measure of fulfillment, faith is. The outer world appears to move in days and years, but your inner world operates outside of time. And your life on the outside can only reflect what you accept on the inside. What we call divine timing is really divine alignment. The moment your consciousness accepts the desire as real, true, and yours, that's the moment the physical world begins to bend itself to match your assumption. You may not see immediate results. That's not a sign of failure. It is a sign that your seed has been planted. The invisible roots are forming. The law is already in motion. But what often happens is this. People doubt during the silence. They question during the unfolding. They uproot the seed because they don't see the sprout quickly enough. And so they delay the very thing they asked for. If you can accept this one truth, that everything you desire exists now, then you can begin to live from a place of peace, not panic. You will no longer chase what's already yours. You'll embody it. You'll speak from it. You'll walk as if the world already knows your desire has been granted. And in that space, in that quiet confidence, something beautiful begins to happen. Life reorganizes itself. People, places, and events begin to shift. And what once felt far suddenly appears close, even inevitable. But this cannot be done through force. You cannot make something happen faster by worrying, doubting, or overthinking. Those are signs that you don't yet believe it's done. Instead, rest in the knowing that it is. Trust the inner unfolding. Trust the unseen. The journey is not from one point in time to another. The journey is from unbelief to belief, from wishing to knowing, from asking to receiving in consciousness. That is where manifestation begins. Not when something happens out there, but when something shifts in here. Let the world take the time it needs, because it is only echoing back to you what you have already accepted. The moment you feel it real, you have entered the moment of fulfillment. From there, it's not a matter of if it will come. It's only a matter of when your outer world catches up to the truth you have already claimed within. And when that moment arrives, you will not be surprised. You will simply smile because you knew all along it was already done. What appears as delay in your life is not a sign that your desire has been rejected or forgotten. It is not a punishment, nor is it proof that you're doing something wrong. In truth, delay is often a divine adjustment, a sacred pause, orchestrated to prepare you and align everything around you for perfect fulfillment. You see, life is not random. It unfolds with precision, with intention, and always in accordance with your inner state. When you desire something deeply, the universe responds instantly. Not always in the visible, but in the unseen, where things are first formed. The seed of your intention is planted the moment you assume it is yours. But between planting and harvest, there is always a period of becoming. This is where most people become discouraged. They confuse the silence of the process with absence. But silence is not absence. It is sacred movement happening beneath the surface. Delay gives room for transformation, both within you and within the circumstances that must shift to support your desire. If your desire manifested immediately without this period of refinement, it might not find fertile ground in your life. You might not be emotionally, mentally, or spiritually ready to receive it fully. There could be fears you haven't faced, beliefs you haven't surrendered, or patterns that would sabotage the very blessing you're asking for. And so, the delay is not a denial, it is mercy in motion. It is grace shaping you to carry the weight of what you've asked for. Your faith is not proven when things happen instantly. Your faith is revealed in your willingness to believe even when the outer world offers no evidence. When you continue to live from the feeling of fulfillment, when you speak as though it's done, walk as though it's near, and rest as though it's secure, then life begins to rearrange itself in invisible ways. You cannot always see the movement, but you can feel the alignment. People begin to enter your life, doors begin to open, inner shifts take place, and suddenly what once felt delayed begins to unfold in rapid, often unexpected ways. What causes the shift is not time passing, but consciousness changing. When you align your awareness with the feeling of having it, not wanting it, but having it, you activate the law that governs creation. This law does not respond to effort, it responds to assumption. It reflects not what you hope for, but what you believe is already yours. So when it feels like nothing is happening, remind yourself, something is always happening. You are being guided. You are being refined. You are being made ready for what is already yours. And the universe is moving on your behalf in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Hold your desire gently but firmly. Don't obsess. Don't beg. Simply dwell in the and mentally and emotionally. See it. Feel it. Trust it. And then let the process unfold. When the manifestation arrives, it will not feel like a surprise. It will feel like a return to something you already knew. Because delay was never a denial, it was the space you needed to become the person who could receive it fully. Every desire you hold, every vision you cherish begins with a single quiet act. Assumption. The moment you assume your desire is already fulfilled, you have planted the seed. This is not mere wishing or hoping. Assumption is a bold inner acceptance. It is the invisible declaration that what you seek is already yours. Just like a gardener placing a seed into the soil, you do not immediately see the outcome, but you know something has begun. The soil does not need your constant supervision to do its job. You do not dig up the seed every day to check on its growth. In fact, to do so would disturb its process. Instead, you water it, nurture it, and give it sunlight. But more than anything, you trust. You know that beneath the surface, though unseen, something is happening. The roots are forming. The seed is awakening to its potential. In the same way, once your assumption is set in place, your role is not to worry, doubt, or question. Your role is to trust the invisible process. Many people sabotage their desires by constantly checking the outer world for signs. They ask, why hasn't it shown up yet? Or where is it? But this very questioning is like unearthing the seed again and again. It delays growth. It weakens the roots. It sends a signal that you do not truly believe the process is working. True assumption means you no longer need to look for proof. Your inner conviction becomes the proof. Your feeling becomes the evidence. This is not passive. It's not about sitting still and doing nothing. It's about inner activity. You nurture the seed through imagination, emotion, and consistent belief. You rehearse the end in your mind. You feel the joy of already receiving. You speak from the place of having, not needing. Every time you do this, you are watering your assumption, strengthening it, feeding it. And then, in divine order, the fruit begins to appear. Not when you force it, not when you beg for it, but when your inner world becomes fully alive with the truth that it is already done. This is the power of conscious creation. You are not trying to make something happen. You are allowing it to unfold naturally, just as a tree grows from a seed with perfect timing and precision. There may be no visible movement at first. The world may look unchanged. But do not be deceived by appearances. Just because it hasn't appeared yet does not mean it isn't coming. The outer world is slow to reflect the inner shift. But once it does, it often happens suddenly, like a sprout breaking through the surface after weeks of stillness. So plant your assumption and leave it alone. Tend to it with faith, not fear. Speak from it, live from it, and most importantly, feel from it. The process is already underway, and in time, when you least expect it but are most aligned, you will see what you assumed become your reality. Because your assumption is the seed, and when you let it grow, it always bears fruit. There is a sacred silence that comes before the greatest breakthroughs. It is the stillness that many mistake for nothingness. But in truth, it is in this quiet, hidden space where the most powerful manifestations are being shaped. When nothing seems to be happening, when the world around you feels unchanged, untouched by your desires, that is often the moment when everything is truly being set in motion. We are conditioned to associate progress with activity, movement, and visible signs, but real transformation happens in the silence, far beneath the surface of your outer world. Just like a seed buried in the soil, there is no noise, no commotion. You do not hear it break open. You do not witness the roots weaving themselves deep into the earth. But that silent expansion is where life begins. So it is with your desires. When your outer reality appears still, you must not fall into the trap of doubt that silence is not empty. It is full of divine intelligence. It is the space where the invisible begins to take form. The unseen world does not announce itself with trumpets or alarms. It whispers. It moves softly. And if you're not careful, you might miss it, not because it isn't working, but because you are looking in the wrong place. The greatest manifestations don't always come with grand entrances. They arrive in moments of peace, not panic. They emerge through faith, not force. That is why inner certainty is so crucial. When you can stand still in faith, when you can walk calmly even when there is no outer proof, you align yourself with the energy of completion. And this alignment is the magnet that draws your desire into form. You don't need to constantly talk about your dreams. You don't need to explain your vision to others. Sometimes the best thing you can do is retreat into silence and commune with your imagination. Feel it is done. Live from that end. And let your stillness become your strength. The world may not understand your quiet confidence, but it will soon see the results of it. Silence is not inactivity, it is alignment. It is resting in the knowing that what you have assumed is already on its way. It is the deep trust that you are no longer trying to make it happen, it is happening. Just as the tides move without noise and the stars shift above without sound, your life is being rearranged in beautiful and unseen ways. Let others chase, beg and plead. Let others try to force what only flows. But you stay rooted in silence. Stay anchored in the invisible. Because the manifestation you seek is not born from noise or struggle, it is born from the stillness within. And when it finally arrives, it will feel so natural, so perfect, that you'll realize it didn't need to make an entrance. It had been forming all along, quietly, in the depths of your faith. The silence wasn't a delay, it was the birthplace of your miracle. Reality bends not to the force of your effort, but to the quiet certainty of your belief. What you feel is true, deep within, without doubt or hesitation, begins to shape the world around you. The truth is, you are not rewarded for trying harder. You are not heard more clearly because of your struggle. You are answered the moment you feel that what you want is already yours. This feeling is not surface level emotion. It is not fleeting enthusiasm or empty affirmation. It is a deep inner knowing, a calm conviction that rests beneath words. When you enter that state, when you truly believe from within that the thing you seek is already accomplished, something powerful happens. You shift from the frequency of asking to the frequency of having, and the universe, like a mirror, reflects what you are, not what you beg for. Effort alone can only rearrange the outer world, but belief alters the inner world, and the inner always gives birth to the outer. Most people live their lives trying to force change from the outside in. They think if they do more, push harder, hustle longer, they can make something happen. But spiritual law is clear. It is not action that brings manifestation, but consciousness. And when you feel the reality of your desire as if it has already come to pass, you align with divine timing, not human time, not delayed time, but perfect time. The moment you dwell in that state, unseen forces begin to move. Doors begin to open. People begin to show up. Circumstances begin to shift. But it all starts within. Imagine walking through life as if you are already successful, already healed, already loved, already fulfilled. Not pretending, not performing, but feeling it as truth. That kind of belief is magnetic. It does not chase, it attracts. It does not demand, it allows. You stop looking for signs because you become the sign. You radiate the outcome, and the world must respond. What you claim within yourself without resistance becomes law in your world. If you say, I am wealthy, but feel poor, the feeling wins. If you say, I am loved, but feel abandoned, the feeling dominates. The outer world cannot outpace your inner conviction. It is always your emotional acceptance, not your words, that becomes your reality. This is why it is so vital to live from the end, to ask yourself, how would I feel if it were already done? And then live from that feeling, not for one moment, but consistently. You become the embodiment of the thing desired. And in that embodiment, you become a vessel through which it must appear. There is no need to strive, to push, to beg. The universe does not respond to desperation. It responds to alignment. It responds to the vibration of certainty. And certainty comes from one place, feeling. So whatever it is you seek, feel it as true. See it in your mind. Rest in the joy of it. Let it become familiar to you. Let it live inside you until the outer world has no choice but to reflect it back. Because what you feel as true becomes true. Always. Surrender is often misunderstood. Many equate it with defeat, with passivity, with giving up hope. But in truth, surrender is the highest form of trust, the deepest kind of power. It is not the absence of desire, but the release of resistance. It means you no longer chase, force, or beg. Instead, you rest in the knowing that what is meant for you is already on its way. Not because you're giving up, but because you finally trust the process more than your need to control it. Letting go doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care enough to let it unfold in its perfect form and timing. It means you no longer demand that it arrive on your schedule, shaped by your fears or urgency. You step back from the noise of how and when, and you let divine order do what it does best. Deliver your desire in the most effortless and aligned way. So many block their own blessings by holding on too tightly, clutching to their desires with desperation, checking constantly for signs, worrying if it's working. But that kind of energy only sends out one message: I don't believe it's mine. True belief doesn't beg for proof. It doesn't chase after outcomes, it knows. And in that knowing there is peace. Surrender is not inaction, it's a quiet confidence. It's when you can feel the reality of your desire and then release the need to interfere. You've done your part, you've assumed it, felt it, claimed it within. Now you allow it to come forth, not through force, but through faith. You stop micromanaging life and you allow the unseen to bring you what your heart already holds. This is where true power lies. In surrender, you are no longer moved by appearances. You don't panic if things don't look like they're happening. You don't shrink when the world seems unchanged. You understand that some of the greatest manifestations are born in silence, in stillness, in what appears to be nothing. And because you know this, you relax. You align. You allow. There is tremendous strength in resting, in being still, while trusting that what you've asked for is already making its way to you. It might not show up in the form you expected. It might not follow the path you had in mind, but it will arrive, often faster and better, when you step back and let life do what it was designed to do. The ones who manifest the most are not the ones who work the hardest, stress the most, or analyze every outcome. They are the ones who carry quiet belief. They speak little about their desires because they've already seen them within. They don't need to be loud or convincing. Their stillness is their signal. Their rest is their power. Big things are not just coming, they are already here, already prepared, already in motion. The moment you stop trying to make it happen, it begins to flow to you. That's the paradox. The less you control, the more you receive. Because surrender is not weakness. It is the highest expression of faith. It is power in its purest, most sacred form. What you desire is not far away. It is already here, unfolding in ways your eyes may not yet see, but your spirit already knows. Time is not your enemy, it is your ally, revealing all things in perfect order. Delay is never denial, but preparation for your greater becoming. The assumption you hold, the belief you feel, is the seed that creates your world. Even when nothing appears to be happening, trust that everything is. The most powerful changes often emerge in silence, when your soul is still and your heart is certain. You do not need to force what belongs to you. You only need to feel it as done, live from the end, and surrender, not because you've given up, but because you know the universe has already said yes. Big things are not on their way. They are already moving toward you. Stand in faith, trust the unseen, and rest in divine timing. Because the moment you believe, it begins, and when you let go, it flows. Sincerely, thank you for listening. Your journey is unfolding exactly as it should. Keep believing, keep imagining, and know this: the best is not ahead, it is already forming right now for you. Beloved, listen carefully. When nothing around you seems to move, when your prayers seem to echo into still air, when doors remain closed, understand this: God is moving in silence. There is a sacred stillness before every miracle. Not the stillness of nothingness, but the stillness of formation. Just as the earth holds the seed in quiet soil before the bloom, so too does your life hold within it the quiet unfolding of God's work. You've been asking, you've been believing, but now you must rest in the knowing that your overflow is no longer a question. It is an answer already on the way. In the silence, a shift has already happened. The world around you may not echo it yet, but within you, a vibration has risen. That vibration is what calls forth your blessing. You do not beg for what is yours. You assume it. You do not chase what belongs to you. You receive it. And while others look for signs, you become the sign. By believing before seeing, by acting in faith, by praising before the harvest. This is the hour where many will grow weary, but not you. You have understood the secret. The silence is not a void. It is the voice of God moving quietly, preparing your overflow. So do not worry about how. Do not worry about when. Your only job now is to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. Wake up like it's already done. Walk like you're already chosen. Breathe like you're already in abundance. Because God is not preparing the overflow. He's already released it. It's just coming to you in a way you cannot yet see. Overflow doesn't need a trumpet. It needs your readiness. It doesn't shout, it flows. It doesn't ask permission, it arrives. So today, move in silent confidence, as God does. Walk with grace, speak with certainty, and live as though the miracle has already taken place. Because, beloved, it has. The overflow is coming, and in truth, it's already here. You may not hear the noise of change, but within the silence, the divine is orchestrating your breakthrough. There is a sacred intelligence moving beneath the surface of your life, quietly, without commotion, without grand announcements. Just as the roots of a tree grow deep into the earth before a single leaf appears, the unseen power is at work beneath your circumstances, laying foundations for what is to come. It's easy to feel forgotten when nothing seems to move. When prayers feel unanswered and effort yields no visible reward, the mind begins to doubt. But that is where most falter, by looking for signs too early, by demanding evidence before the work is complete. The divine does not need an audience. Creation often happens in silence, in stillness, in the shadows where human eyes cannot see. Right now, things are shifting for you, not in the loud ways you're used to, but in the quiet rearranging of paths, the silent alignment of people, opportunities, and moments. The delay is not punishment, it is preparation. You are being positioned for something far greater than you asked for. What you interpret as stagnation is actually orchestration. This is not the time to panic. This is the time to trust the process, trust the silence, trust the invisible forces that respond to your assumption, your faith, your inner conviction that what you have imagined is already done. Because when you assume your desire as fulfilled, you activate the unseen current. You command the invisible power to begin shaping the world around you. So remain still in spirit. Don't look around for confirmation. Don't seek validation from others who cannot perceive what's unfolding within you. It is already happening. The divine is building in secret, molding in mystery, preparing to unveil something so aligned with you that you will understand why it took this long. What's meant for you is not lost, it's being delivered in silence. You were never forgotten, you are being prepared. When it arrives, it won't come as a surprise to your spirit, because deep down, you always knew. You always felt it. And that quiet knowing, that unshakable inner certainty, is the voice of the unseen power letting you know your breakthrough is already underway. The silence you feel is not emptiness. It is not a void, nor a pause in life. It is creation in motion. In stillness, something holy is happening. The seed of your overflow, planted long ago in the garden of your imagination, is being nurtured, not by noise, not by chaos, but by the calm, steady hand of divine intelligence. God does not work in a hurry, nor with fanfare. He creates by assumption, through quiet certainty, through the knowing that what is imagined in faith already exists. We are conditioned to believe that action is the only force that moves things. But the greatest transformations do not begin in the external world. They begin in the invisible. Creation starts in the unseen realm, where thought, feeling, and belief combine to form the blueprint of what will soon be made visible. Just like a seed in the earth, your desire rests beneath the surface, hidden from sight, but not from life. And in the silence, it is being watered by your belief, your persistence, your inner vision. This is why it is so important to not mistake stillness for stagnation. When you look around and see nothing changing, that is not the moment to doubt. That is the moment to double down in faith. Speak not in desperation, but in completion. Declare it done. Walk in the energy of fulfillment. Live from the state of the wish fulfilled, not as one who is waiting, but as one who is already in possession of the promise. God does not need to make noise to create. There is no need for the sky to open or the ground to shake. Creation is subtle. It is birthed through assumption. When you assume something to be true in the depths of your being, without needing proof, without requiring evidence, you have stepped into the divine act of creation itself. The silence is the womb of your new reality. It is the sacred space where all things begin. Do not rush it. Do not disturb it with doubt. Trust it. Rest in it. Because what is forming in silence today will overflow into your life in ways that cannot be explained, only received. Your job is not to force it. Your job is to believe it. The silence is not the absence of movement. It is the presence of power. Your inner world is the first cause of all that you experience. Before anything takes shape in your life, it is first conceived in the silence of your imagination. That silence, often overlooked or dismissed, is the very place where the flow of life begins. What you imagine is already yours. What you accept, believe, and embody within starts to gather energy, momentum, and direction until it must express itself outwardly in form. The world around you is not separate from you. It is a reflection of the state you consistently occupy within. If you dwell in lack inwardly, you will encounter it externally. But if you learn to remain in the feeling of fulfillment, even before the physical evidence arrives, your outer world begins to rearrange itself to match that state. This is not mere positive thinking. This is the law of consciousness in motion. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are, what you assume to be true. Imagination is not idle. It is creative. It is divine. It is the workshop of God within you. When you enter the scene of your desire fulfilled in your mind and dwell in it as real, even if only for a few moments each day, you are planting a seed in the invisible, and that seed will grow, not by force, but by the nature of the assumption itself. The feeling of already having it is what waters the seed. It is never about the world out there. That world is just a mirror. The real transformation begins when you change your inner atmosphere, and that change must be one of identity. Do not just imagine the thing you want. Imagine being the person who already has it. What does it feel like to walk in that reality, to make choices from that version of you? That is the secret. Once your inner world accepts a thing as real, the outer world has no choice but to catch up. It may come through unexpected channels or quiet turns of events, but it will come. Your role is not to figure out the how, it is to persist in the knowing. Every vision that lives long enough in the stillness of belief will push through the surface of life and become visible. And when it does, it will feel familiar, because you have already lived it inwardly. Delay is not denial. It is divine timing in its most sacred form. When nothing seems to be happening, when your prayers feel unanswered and your manifestations appear distant, it's not because you have been forgotten. It's because everything is aligning perfectly behind the scenes. The pieces are not missing, they are moving. The timing is not wrong, it is being refined. The divine does not operate on human impatience. He does not rush, because rushing would compromise the wholeness of what is coming. What you are asking for is not small, and because it is great, it requires preparation. Not just of the external conditions, but of you. The waiting is doing something. It is shaping your character, softening your ego, and aligning your spirit with the magnitude of what is about to enter your life. You may not see the evidence yet, but evidence is not the truth. Truth begins within. And when your internal truth, the assumption that it is already done, remains unshaken, the world will eventually bow to it, but not on your clock. It will arrive on divine time, and when it does, it will be perfect, no pieces missing, no part lacking, full, complete, and more than you imagined. Think of how nature works. A tree does not bear fruit the moment a seed is planted. There is an invisible process of rooting, stretching, reaching into the soil for strength. So too with your desires. They are not being ignored, they are being rooted. And when they bloom, they will do so in a way that can be sustained. This delay is not punishment, it is protection, it is calibration. If it came now, it might come too soon. But when it comes in divine timing, it will stay, multiply, and bless every part of your life. So rather than resist the stillness, embrace it. Rather than panic, prepare. God moves with fullness, not fragments. He doesn't deliver crumbs, He brings overflow. And overflow takes time to arrange, so rest in the knowing that your waiting is not in vain. Something greater is coming, not because you're lucky, but because you're aligned. Not because you forced it, but because you believed even when nothing seemed to move. And soon what once felt like a delay will look like perfect arrival. Faith is not waiting for signs. It is the silent conviction that something already is, even when your eyes and ears tell you it's not. It is hearing without sound, seeing without sight, knowing without proof. Faith does not require external validation. It rests entirely within. It is the quiet agreement between your soul and the unseen forces that what you desire is already done. You do not need to see evidence. The moment you feel the need to prove something is happening, you have stepped out of faith and into fear. But when you know, when you carry that calm, unwavering certainty within you, that knowing becomes a magnetic call. It pulls the unseen toward you. The overflow responds to the vibration of belief, not the volume of effort. And real faith is not loud. It doesn't panic. It doesn't beg. It doesn't ask the same question twice. It assumes. It settles into the answer. It walks, speaks, and breathes as if the thing desired is already present. That level of knowing changes you from the inside out, and because your outer world mirrors your inner state, it must shift to match the truth you've accepted within. When you live from this place, you don't chase results. You radiate alignment. You don't force doors open, you find them already unlocked. The world begins to rearrange around your inner certainty because that's the law. The inner shapes the outer. Faith becomes the architect of your reality. This is why so many struggle. They look for signs instead of becoming the sign. They wait for confirmation instead of embodying completion. But faith doesn't wait. It welcomes. It doesn't ask, where is it? It says, thank you. It's here. And in that gratitude, in that confidence, in that internal surrender, something invisible begins to move. You may not see it yet, but you will feel it. A shift, a peace, a readiness. That is how you know faith is alive within you. So today, don't wait for sound. Don't ask for evidence. Simply know. Rest in the quiet power of your assumption. Speak only what supports the outcome you desire. Feel only the emotions of the fulfilled version of you, because that deep knowing, that inner hearing without sound, is the very thing that draws your overflow into form. The overflow does not begin with noise, it begins in quiet. Before it bursts open into your life, it moves through the unseen realms, gently shifting the energy around you. You may not notice anything at first. The people remain the same. The environment looks unchanged. But beneath the surface, something is stirring, subtle yet powerful. First, the vibration shifts. That shift is internal, born in the silence of your decision to believe without question. You feel it before you see it. That inner nudge, that peace that surpasses understanding, that quiet assurance that something has changed, even though nothing outside of you has. This is the first sign of overflow, not in the physical, but in your spirit. And once that internal alignment has been made, the outer form has no choice but to catch up. What feels like waiting is not emptiness, it is becoming. You are not being delayed, you are being prepared. The conditions are not stalled, they are aligning with the new version of you that's been birthed in faith. And as you continue to dwell in the state of fulfillment, the energy begins to gather. The current grows stronger. The invisible momentum builds silently until the moment it has no choice but to reveal itself. This is the mystery of divine manifestation. It never announces itself before it's ready. It doesn't come with warning signs or thunder. It comes through quiet obedience to belief. And then suddenly everything changes. What you once imagined begins to materialize. Opportunities appear, relationships shift, finances open. And the overflow, which felt so far away, becomes undeniable and near. But understand this, the overflow didn't come in that moment, it came in the moment you first believed. The moment you decided to live from the end. That's when the wheels turned. That's when heaven responded. Everything since then has just been a silent unfolding. So trust the quiet seasons. Stay in the vibration of already having. Don't rush the burst, let it build. Because when it finally arrives, it will not trickle, it will pour, it will overflow. And you'll realize the silence wasn't absence, it was power, in its purest, most sacred form, creating something greater than you ever expected. You may not see it yet. You may not hear a sound, feel a shift, or witness a change around you, but something sacred is happening. In the silence, God is moving. In the unseen, your overflow is being prepared. The stillness is not the end, it is the beginning. It is the evidence that what you've imagined, believed, and assumed is forming in the invisible realm, getting ready to flood into your life. This is the moment to hold fast to your inner world, to stay rooted in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, to walk, speak, and think as though it's already done, because it is. The overflow doesn't arrive with warning, it arrives with fullness. And when it does, you'll understand why it took time, why it required stillness, and why you had to trust without seeing. You'll see that every silent moment was not a delay, but a divine design. So breathe easy. God is moving in silence. And your overflow is already on its way. The way to say thanks at the end. Thank you for listening. If this message spoke to your spirit, let it live in your heart. Share it with someone who needs the reminder. It's not over, it's unfolding. Stay in faith, the overflow is coming. Close your eyes to what was. Forget the story. Ignore the conditions. You are no longer waiting for the overflow. You have activated it. The shift is not coming, it is here. You are living in a new reality now, and whether you see the outer signs or not, the inner signal has already been sent. Your desires are not far-off dreams. They are instructions delivered to your spirit, not to tease you, but to remind you of what is already yours. You wouldn't desire it if it wasn't part of your design. You wouldn't feel the pull if it wasn't already alive in a parallel version of you. And now the bridge has appeared, not in sight, but in spirit. The overflow is activated the moment you declared it is done, not when others believe it, not when the bank confirms it, not when the relationship calls you back, but when you feel the fullness of it as real. You must walk like the one who has received, speak like the one who knows, react like the one who no longer hopes, but lives in the afterglow of fulfillment. This is not fake it till you make it. This is faith it until it manifests. You are not waiting on time. Time is waiting on you to step into the state. Your new reality isn't on the way. It's already live. Like a radio station playing continuously, your job is simply to tune in, not beg for the music to start. The frequency has changed. The moment you shifted within, everything else began aligning without. You may still see remnants of the old, but do not let that disturb your faith. The former things will echo briefly before fading out. Do not water old seeds with new tares. Don't speak from the past while living in the future. Don't check the field for what's growing. Be still and know it is already done. Walk differently today. Expect the call, expect the opportunity, expect the open door, not because you're desperate for it, but because you already own it in spirit. Your energy has become a magnet for miracles. You're not chasing, you're attracting. You're not forcing, you're allowing. Overflow has been activated. Your new reality is live. Now, live like it. You already possess the reality you seek. That which you long for is not outside of you waiting to be earned or discovered. It is already established within your own consciousness. The entire structure of your life is built upon the assumptions you hold to be true, whether they serve you or limit you. You are not chasing anything. You are merely awakening to what you have already claimed in spirit. The outer world is not cause, it is effect. It does not initiate anything, it only reflects. It shows you moment by moment the contents of your imagination, your beliefs, and your persistent inner dialogue. Look around, and you will see nothing more than the projection of your internal state. Every conversation, every financial condition, every opportunity or lack thereof is not random. It is responding with exact precision to your dominant assumptions. Life responds not to your words, but to your inner conviction. The question is never, do I deserve this, but rather, do I believe this is mine? That belief, that deep-seated knowing, is the mechanism by which realities are formed. The mistake most people make is thinking the world needs to change first before they can feel different, but it works in reverse. You must feel different first. You must dwell in the state of already having, already being, already knowing, and then the world will organize itself to confirm your inner experience. Reality bends to the script you are writing internally. The story you repeat, the self-concept you uphold, the emotions you entertain, these are the architects of your future. You do not manifest what you want, you manifest what you are in consciousness. So many walk around as if they are powerless, waiting for a miracle to drop from the sky, unaware that the miracle is activated the moment they accept the new reality within themselves. You don't need evidence, you need awareness. You don't need signs, you need assumption. The minute you dare to believe that your desire is already fulfilled, you call it forth into this dimension. Not by might, not by struggle, but by alignment. Your job is not to make things happen, but to assume they already have. This is not imagination as fantasy. This is imagination as creation. When you claim something inwardly and refuse to contradict it with doubt or contradiction, you give it permission to manifest. And as you persist, the world has no choice but to mirror back what you have already made real within. Every desire is already finished in the realm of spirit. Time only exists to allow you to witness it unfolding in this dimension. There is nothing to strive for, only something to awaken to. If you will persist in the belief that it is already yours, the world will rearrange itself to match your new state of being. So stop looking outward for confirmation. Go inward. Know that you already possess the reality you seek. Hold that truth. Feel its presence. Rest in its certainty. The world is only echoing what you declare to be true inside of you. And once you decide, once you assume, the echo must respond. The moment you feel it, it begins. Not when circumstances change, not when someone gives you permission, not when your environment aligns perfectly. No, the instant you feel it is real. When you emotionally accept it is done within, creation is set into motion. The process begins not with action but with assumption. Not with effort but with awareness. Time is not the gatekeeper of your manifestation. Consciousness is. What you feel to be true in your imagination with deep conviction and inner certainty becomes the seed of your new reality. It may not show itself immediately in the physical world, but that does not mean nothing has happened. Much like a seed planted in soil, the moment of transformation is hidden beneath the surface. But the shift is real. The roots of your new life begin to grow the moment you feel the fulfillment emotionally. The invisible realm starts to move. People are influenced. Opportunities are arranged. Paths begin to form, all in silence. This is why feeling is so powerful. It is not a vague emotion. It is the spiritual signal that aligns you with the version of yourself where your desire is already complete. Feeling is not passive, it is creative. To feel something as real is to occupy it, to live in the state of the wish fulfilled. You are not rehearsing a fantasy, you are claiming a truth. And once that truth settles in your being, the world begins to reflect it back. You don't need to understand how or when. That's not your role. Your only responsibility is to enter the state and remain there. In mind, in heart, in imagination. If you can hold the feeling long enough, everything else will conform to your inner world. Do not measure the outside for signs too soon. The transformation starts within, and only later reveals itself without. The delay is not denial, it is the unfolding. The world will often contradict your new state at first. It may even test you. That's only because the old momentum is still playing out. But once you've made the inner shift, once you feel it as if it has already happened, the old must give way to the new. You no longer live in the old pattern, even if it still surrounds you. You are now living from a new vibration, and everything that matches that frequency is making its way to you. This is the power of inner acceptance. The moment you surrender to the feeling of it is done, the old reality begins to lose its grip. You are no longer begging, no longer hoping. You are living from the result. That is the secret. That is the turning point. Not effort, not struggle, but internal certainty. So do not wait. Feel it now, not later, not someday, now. Step into the feeling of the outcome already fulfilled. Dwell in the joy, the relief, the gratitude, the calm that comes when you know it's already yours. That is when creation begins. That is the moment of conception, the moment you feel it. It begins. Imagination is your spiritual blueprint. It is not a child's game, nor a meaningless escape from reality. It is the divine creative power within you, the silent architect that builds the structures of your outer world. What you imagine persistently and feel deeply becomes the mold into which life must pour itself. Everything you've ever manifested, whether consciously or unconsciously, has been shaped first by the images you held in the secret chambers of your mind. Most people dismiss imagination as fantasy. They see it as pretend, disconnected from the real world. But what they fail to realize is that everything in the real world was once imagined. The house you live in, the chair you sit on, the words you speak, all originated in someone's mind before they became physical. The same law applies to your desires. They are not daydreams to entertain you. They are spiritual indicators of what is possible for you, waiting to be realized through the power of your imagination. When you imagine something clearly and consistently, with emotion and belief, you are doing more than visualizing. You are constructing. You are stepping into a parallel version of reality where your desire already exists. And once you hold that vision without wavering, you activate the unseen forces that begin to arrange circumstances, people, and opportunities to match your inner picture. In the new picture, this is the beginning of overflow, not lack, not effort. Overflow begins the moment you declare within, "It is done," and allow yourself to feel the joy and gratitude of already having. Imagination is not a tool you use once and forget. It is the atmosphere you live in. It is the stage upon which your future plays out. And if you consistently return to the state of the wish fulfilled in imagination, your reality has no choice but to reflect it. Every time you imagine yourself already having what you desire, already being the person you want to become, you rewrite the script of your life. You shift your identity. You move into alignment with the version of you who no longer needs to chase, because it's already theirs. Your subconscious begins to accept it as fact, and your vibration starts to magnetize that experience toward you. This is why it is so important to imagine in detail. Not vague ideas, but vivid scenes. What are you wearing? What are you hearing? Who are you with? How do you feel now that it's yours? These details impress the subconscious more deeply, making the vision more alive, more believable, and belief is the bridge. When you believe what you imagine, when you accept it as your truth, life responds. You are not at the mercy of circumstances, you are the author of them. And imagination is your pen. Every time you close your eyes and enter the world within, you are sculpting reality. Every scene you play, every outcome you feel, every joyful end you rehearse, It all adds weight to the new state you are creating. So stop waiting, begin to imagine again, but this time with authority, with purpose, with the understanding that what you build in imagination today will become your experience tomorrow. Your imagination is your spiritual blueprint. Respect it, use it, and watch overflow become your new normal. The old has passed. Don't look back. Once you have accepted a new state of being, a new vision of yourself, it is essential that you release the former version entirely. You cannot bring the past with you into your future. You cannot hold on to the old identity and expect the new reality to fully take shape. The shift begins in consciousness, and it requires full commitment. The moment you assume your desire is already fulfilled, the old version of you, the one who lacked, the one who waited, the one who worried, must be left behind. This is not something you do once and forget. It is a decision you make repeatedly, in thought, in feeling, and in response to life. Every moment offers a choice to react from the old self or to respond from the new. And your future depends entirely on which one you choose to occupy. You cannot live in the new and mourn the old at the same time. You cannot assume abundance while speaking lack. You cannot declare that the relationship is healed while still imagining pain and rejection. That old story, no matter how convincing, no matter how familiar, has no more life unless you keep breathing into it with your focus. The former reality only lingers when you revisit it in consciousness. But the moment you let it go, truly let it go, it begins to dissolve. The scene changes, the actors shift. The world reflects your new identity. This is why faith is not just belief, it is loyalty to a state. It is persistence in assuming the new even when the evidence hasn't yet caught up. The outer world often has a delay. It may still show you shadows of the past, but those are only echoes. They have no real power unless you fear them, feed them, or give them your attention again. Don't look back. Don't check to see if things are changing. Don't rehearse the worst outcomes in your mind out of habit. That only reactivates the old state. Instead, live from the end, speak from the end, think from the end. What does the fulfilled version of you feel like? How do they respond? How do they walk through life? Begin to act, think, and respond as that version. And the world will conform. Let go of guilt. Let go of timelines. Let go of needing to control every step. Your new state knows what to do. You are not trying to make things happen. You are allowing your new reality to unfold. And it will perfectly if you remain faithful to it. You must become emotionally unavailable to your past. No matter how long you lived in it, no matter how deeply you were attached to it, it is no longer who you are. You are not defined by what was. You are defined by what you are now conscious of being. So when the past calls, let it go to voicemail. When old emotions rise, thank them and release them. You've chosen something new. And now, the universe will honor that choice if you stop looking back and simply move forward with quiet confidence. The old has passed. Walk on. Overflow is not earned, it's aligned with. You were never meant to struggle your way into abundance. You were never required to prove your worth to receive what is already yours in spirit. The idea that you must work harder, hustle endlessly, or suffer for blessings is a false belief passed down through fear. The truth is far simpler and far more powerful. You receive overflow not by effort, but by alignment. To align means to match the frequency of what you desire. It means to adjust your inner world, your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions, so they reflect the outcome you wish to experience. You don't chase the overflow. You don't beg for it. You shift into the identity that already lives in it. You begin to think as that version of you. You speak from that place. You respond to life as though it is already happening, and in doing so, you magnetize it. This is not about laziness. It's about trust. Deep, unshakable trust in the unseen. You don't need to see the fruit instantly to believe the seed has taken root. When you plant the desire in your imagination and nourish it with faith, you can rest. The overflow begins to flow, not when you fight for it, but when you know that it's done and feel the relief of that inner certainty. The world has taught you that you must earn love, fight for success, and prove yourself worthy of blessings. But the higher truth is this: you are worthy now. You are enough now. What you seek is not separate from you. It is already yours in consciousness, waiting for you to meet it in spirit. The only thing that delays your overflow is resistance, doubt, fear, and identification with the old self who believed it wasn't possible. To align is to drop the resistance, to stop checking for signs, to stop reacting to the appearance of lack, to become so internally convinced that you are already living in your desire, that you no longer question the process. You are not waiting on the world to give you permission to feel blessed. You give yourself that permission first, and then the world echoes it back to you. Overflow is your natural state when you stop trying to survive and start allowing yourself to thrive. When you shift from striving to receiving, from chasing to being. You let go of force and move into flow. You stop micromanaging every detail and start trusting the intelligence of life to deliver what matches your inner reality. Alignment doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing everything from the energy of already having. You still act, but the action is inspired, not desperate. You still move forward, but without the panic. You don't hustle to make it happen. You live as though it's happening now. This is how you align with overflow, not by earning it, but by embodying it, not by struggle, but by surrender to your new identity. And when you do that, you'll see that blessings don't trickle in, they pour. Doors open without force. People show up without explanation. The flow begins because you matched it within. You are not trying to get overflow, you are remembering that it was yours all along. And now that you've aligned, you'll see it, feel it, and live in it naturally. Live from the end, not toward it. This is the secret that changes everything. You don't become what you want by reaching, hoping, or chasing. You become it by being it. Now, in this moment, before anything around you appears to change. Creation begins in consciousness. The state you occupy within determines what shows up without. So if you want to manifest your desire, you must live from the place where it is already fulfilled. This means thinking as if it's already done, feeling as though it's already yours, speaking with the confidence of someone who has already received it. You don't try to become wealthy. You begin to feel and think as the version of you who already is. You don't try to manifest love, you assume the posture and peace of one who is already loved deeply. Living from the end is not imagination as wishful thinking. It is imagination as reality. It is choosing to dwell in the outcome before it's visible, trusting that your world will eventually reflect your new internal state. Too many people live toward their desires. They place their dreams just beyond the horizon, always in the future, always out of reach. And by doing so, they delay the manifestation. Why? Because to place your desire in the future is to say, it is not mine now. And life responds to that belief by keeping it away. The law is simple. What you claim internally and dwell in consistently becomes your experience externally. So stop thinking like a person who is waiting. Become the one who has already received. When you live from the end, you shift your identity. You no longer operate as someone trying to get something. You operate as someone who is something. And everything around you, your actions, decisions, even your energy, begins to reflect that new identity. The world starts responding to you differently. Because you are different. You're not reaching, you're radiating. You're not needing, you're knowing. This requires faith, not in a vague or abstract sense, but in the form of loyalty to your assumption. You must persist in it even when the outer world seems unchanged, even when the opposite appears. You hold to the end, not because you see proof, but because you've already claimed it as yours. The more real it feels within, the faster it will harden into fact. Living from the end also brings peace. You are no longer frantic or desperate. You are calm, grounded, centered in the reality that your desire is fulfilled. From that place of inner completion, you make decisions with clarity. You speak with authority. You attract what aligns with the version of you that no longer doubts. And when doubt creeps in, as it sometimes will, you remind yourself, the end is already mine. You return to the feeling. You replay the scene. You walk again in the shoes of the person who already has it. That is your true home now. The old self has no voice here. So make your desire real right now, in your mind and heart. Live from the end, not toward it, and watch how quickly life rushes in to meet you there. Your overflow is not a future event, it is a present reality waiting to be recognized. Everything you seek, everything you desire already exists in the unseen, and your only task is to align with it. You no longer need to chase, beg, or strive. The moment you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, the shift begins. Your imagination is your power, your emotions are the signal, and your faith is the gateway. Let go of the old, stay loyal to the new, and live from the end with unwavering certainty. The overflow has been activated. Your new reality is lived. Now walk boldly in it. Way to say thanks to the audience. Thank you for being here, for opening your heart, and for choosing to rise into the life that's already yours. Trust the unseen, feel it now, and walk in the overflow. Your journey has already begun, and the best is not coming, it's here.